Okay, ready for a story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Whenever you're ready. Like, at around maybe, it was like 4:30, I think, today. What time is it? 5:15. So not even an hour ago. I don't even know who knew who we were or how they found us. But anyway, you can actually hear the voicemail on your phone because I got the notification through our email. He called the business and left a voicemail. And he was saying something about like, I've been seeing this moringa everywhere. I don't know if you guys have any, but if you do, give me a call. Because he's trying to get some, I guess. So then I just felt like I needed to call him back immediately. So I did. I was like, hi, so I'm returning your message about the moringa. Did you want to purchase moringa? And he's like, yeah, I keep hearing about this moringa and I think I need it. I gotta have, he's like this old man. I keep seeing it everywhere and everyone keeps telling me that it's gonna be 8 days to like 2 weeks to get it, and he's looking for a way to get it faster. And I'm like, well, so he was wondering if you could just come to the store and pick it up. And I was like, actually, this is an online store, so you can order it on the website and then we'll ship it out to you right away. Probably will take several days to get there. And he's like, do you know how many days? Because, if it's going to be like 2 weeks or something, like, I'm like, you know what? He said something about like I live in Banning or whatever, and then suddenly like it hit me. I was just like, you know what? I live in Beaumont. What if I met you in the Walmart parking lot and we could just do the transaction like that? Anyway, so he bought 2 capsules. I drove over to the Walmart parking lot, and then he handed me over $20. And then I just came home, and there it is. I told him that we also do CBD, we do tea, we do the moringa stuff, and any other health many other health products, because we're in superfoods and CBD products. And then he was just like, what? Wow, what? This might work out then. And I don't know, he just seemed like really happy. I just really quick, like just within 15 minutes, I just drove down there.
What do you think? You're like the salesperson of the year now?
Yeah, because it was so easy. No, I'm just like, it's crazy that like we made a sale without even trying. And that's what I'm just excited about, because I feel like, whenever I see effortless wins like that, I just feel like, oh, okay, things are happening in our favor.
It makes sense.
Energy is moving in the way that, we want it to. Affirmations are working, things like that.
I think I came to that conclusion when the RV picked up, because I didn't even see that one coming. I mean, we affirm it.
We do.
But it came at the right time.
It really did. It's just, I can't even believe that, like, so far since the second half of May, there hasn't been, a few days. We haven't even had like a 1 week gap of, not being booked. We've been booked for almost every day straight. We might have gaps of like 2 days in between, but for the most part, we've been booked since.
Back to back, yeah.
Yeah, we've been booked back to back. Because last year it felt like such a struggle. I don't know if this is COVID's doing, or what if this is just all the SEO that you actually paid for last year.
I think that's part of it.
It's kicking in.
Yeah, it's part of it. Because we're getting searches. It's about, the last time I checked, it was over 4,000 organic searches on Google.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're actually ranking on Google.
Yeah.
Fine. Well, yeah, actually, that's probably why.
We should ask them where they found us.
We need to start asking them how they found us. You're right. I should have asked that guy where he found us. But the thing is, at least he has our information. We have his, so we can definitely use him for marketing. But yeah, I don't see any way that this guy would have found us other than Google. Because he said he's been calling around, asking about moringa. He's been calling different stores. So
yeah, it's weird how he found us.
So yeah, I think he had to have found us through like a search engine.
Isn't it bizarre that people try to define God as human? I think it's outrageous of us to think that,
Yeah. It's
you
just like,
you know,
how
because
dare we?
because the universe is not just human beings.
It's not. I mean, are you seriously saying that there is no other life out there? And what do they look like?
Just even in our immediate place here, what do you think a horse thinks his god looks like human beings? A horse probably thinks his god looks like a horse.
If he thinks there is a God. Yeah, it's
You
like
know what I mean?
that kind of. I think that has to. I mean, I think self-awareness plays a lot into this because we
Right.
actually know that, like, we're people. We know we're human. We know we have what we look like. We know.
You don't think a horse
We know
knows
how
that
to
it's a
distinguish.
horse?
No, I don't. I don't think horses categorize themselves. I don't think they have names for all the other forest animals. And
You don't know that.
I mean, maybe
You don't
they
think
do.
you don't
but
think Chuck is a husky, and a very smart husky.
You think that she can look into a mirror and go, and like, let's say there were 3 dogs, and if they both looked in the mirror, do you think Chuck would actually recognize herself, or do you think Chuck would bark at it, thinking those are dogs staring at her? Those are other dogs. I don't think she looks at her reflection, going, "Who am I?" Like, I don't think she has the capacity to even go there. I think that she's like a living being that's just living and being and feeling free and running all over the backyard, and just like, she probably thinks that every organism is equal. Well, maybe not, because she kills some and then she licks others.
For something that doesn't think at all, you're giving it a lot of credibility and a lot of qualities. You've been trying to describe her for the last 30 minutes, and for some reason you think she's not capable of doing the same thing.
I don't think dogs are there.
They are living
I don't think
beings.
that's
We
their
are
thing.
human beings. When are we going to start living and being?
It's almost impossible for humans because we judge everything.
Our minds.
And we cause problems for ourselves and each other. And
We have no control of our minds. Our minds control us.
yeah,
Our minds is just this
Think we
hollow,
have an ego.
fearful thing.
I don't think animals have that.
The mind is just this empty, shallow thing. I think without us, the mind doesn't exist. And it's so fearful and so egotistical.
What's the mind to you?
The mind, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. If it was a human being, it's this cowardly, fearful, scary little boy.
You are mean to the mind.
No, that's what it is, because all it does is talk about fear. That's all it knows is fear this, fear that, fear this, fear that. That's it. And
No,
it's
you
always,
train the mind to do that.
No, you train yourself to ignore the mind. You can't. I don't think you can get rid of it. It's always going to be there.
You get
It's
your
gonna
mind
just like
used
yapping,
to reaching for other thoughts.
You
redirect
silence
your
it.
mind.
No. The best state of being is in
You
silence.
can't silence your mind.
Okay, we're talking about us. We're separate beings from our minds. Our mind is a separate being from us, consciousness. Okay? The mind is just yap, 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 yap. Memory, fear, fear, fear. But you, as the conscious, have to ignore the mind and float away in silence. Because in silence, that's where the most power is exerted. Pay close attention. Understand the words that come out of my mouth. Silence is potent.
What does silence mean to you?
It's a vacuum. It's like when you dive deep into the water.
Is there really such thing as that?
Yeah.
Emptiness? Because does the space always have to be filled?
No. There's something in there. We are in there. We are in that silence, in that vacuum, but it's quiet. It's like, that's where I think heaven is. That's where, like, when you are able to get in that place where it's just quietness, stillness. That's when we have arrived in its presence. And and it's described as there's fullness of joy. It's joyful when you get to that place. I don't know how to get there. I think you get there from
Doesn't
meditation.
exist.
No.
You can't do that.
You get there from meditation. Meditation day and night, which is not practical for us because we are part of this matrix. But I'm trying to tell you what it takes to achieve that. You have to become a monk. You have to live in spirit. Like, you see how
But spirit
these
is not
Rajneesh-
nothingness. It's not silence.
you have better control. You can go to silence when you want. You can quiet me. You can be here but not here. It's hard to imagine because you don't know you've never experienced it. But I'm telling you, it exists. We're never gonna be able to get to it because we're stuck in this matrix. We're stuck in this physical world where we have to chase around nonsense, things that don't actually matter. So as long as we have to chase around this, as long as we're preoccupied chasing around that, we're missing the more important, more everlasting spiritual world.
Maybe what you're talking about is like a disconnect.
Disconnect. What does that mean?
Like disconnecting from, like you can disconnect your consciousness from whatever your mind is doing. So you can allow your mind to run, but you don't have to be part of it at all. You can just kind of like move away from it. And that way you get to be an observer of everything else and you are not bothered by the mind. It's like you can allow everything to be, you can separate that. And you do get there with meditation. You can definitely get there. That's like a really deep state of hypnosis where it's like you can get your mind to be totally separate, like separate from your body or your consciousness, whoever you are. Like you can actually leave it with everything and just be an observer. You can watch it or you can go somewhere else. Everything else is still there, but it's just like that disconnect. So because we're constantly like glued together, you can't do anything without your mind running. Your mind can't stop running. You can redirect everything, but your mind is gonna do what your mind does. But you can meditate yourself into a state where you're able to disconnect from what your mind is doing. All the yapping, like you say, and then your consciousness is just...
Let's go get some food.
And we are back. What's wrong?
It's not enough battery.
Battery for what?
So to update the software.
Really? It needs a lot of battery just to update the software?
I'm doing it anyway.
Oh, okay. Or is it like how phones are where they're like, they refuse to allow the software to update unless it's sitting on the charge?
I wouldn't be surprised if it uses a lot of power to update. The paradox of choice.
When you have too many choices, are you really unhappy, or is it just that you don't know what to do?
Satisfied is a much better feeling. The paradox of choice defines dissatisfaction that occurs when you are presented with too many choices. The more choices that you have, the less satisfied that you will be. So if you want people to be happy, limit their choices. And this you can compare it to any other situation in life or any other event. Think about it. If you walk into a grocery store and you're going down the aisle and you're looking for a can of oil, and you're presented with 10 different cans of oils, it's frustrating because you have to sit there and try to figure out which one's the best. You're not reading and you're comparing labels, and it comes down to which label is more attractive than the other.
Or if you feel like you've come up with a system and like how you're gonna beat the system and you're gonna get the best quality for the least amount of money.
Or maybe you have history with it. You've seen your mom use it before.
Okay, yeah.
it would have been so easy if it was just that one brand, and you'd be more satisfied because you would leave there feeling like you've made the one good choice because it was only one choice. But if you had 10 other options and you picked one, you're gonna go home wondering what the other 9 brands would have offered differently from the one that you have. Because the entire time you'll be thinking that there's something you're missing out. There's gonna be real FOMO happening.
Real FOMO, huh?
So that's the paradox of
And this
choice.
all comes from having so many choices.
People in the Western world are very materialistic because for a long time, this part of the world has lived in abundance compared to other parts of the world.
Right.
Especially if you grew up like me, as an immigrant, I've lived in both worlds. I've grown up in Nigeria where there was scarcity, there was little. We didn't have much. And it didn't matter what class of society, well, even the rich people didn't have much. When the light goes out, everybody's affected from rich to poor.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. No telephone lines. I remember we paid in 1995 or so. I don't remember what exactly year. 1994, I believe. We paid for a telephone line.
Oh yeah, you told me this story. You guys paid for the telephone line, never got it?
And we never got. We got put on a waiting list.
Oh my god.
And we never got that phone line. I grew up in that house and never got the phone line. And that was our childhood.
Wow.
So I know what it's like to walk to school or walk miles to school. I know what that's like. So when you've gone through life through hardship and you come into an environment where there's abundance, it's like you have an edge. Sometimes I remember I used to feel like I had an edge. Right now I've gotten too westernized. I used to feel like I had an edge. Everybody feels like they were moving slower than me, like two years slower than me. So you want to be in a situation where your choices are limited. It frees your mind up. Your mind is not meant to be busy choosing. Or your mind is meant to free it. Your headspace is meant to be free, declutter it, you know. The more things that you bring into your life or into your space, you clutter your mind.
Yeah, I get that.
And you spend a lot of time worrying about it. And these are artificial things that they're optional. They're optional. This koi pond is optional, but we chose to have it. And it's sometimes it's a source of stress because it's leaking somewhere, and the water level keeps dropping. So and there's more algae than before. So I know I have to spend some time or money or resources into fixing. It would have been better if it was just grass.
So
Fill this whole thing up and be done with it.
this has been the centerpiece of our yard. This is like, when people come here, and they look into the backyard, that's the first thing that they notice. And they're just like, wow, I bet you come out here all the time. Well, we do now, but, you know.
So do you have it because of how it makes people feel? Or do you have it because
I like it. Like, I really like this. I think it's beautiful. The only thing I hate about this pond now is, of course, the fact that I don't know what the deal is with the water level, but that stupid waterfall on the side, the higher one, I want it to look like this.
It did at some point. Yeah.
It did, and now it's just like a couple little strings of water, running down, streaking down. They're streaks. It's not even a waterfall. It's a water streak.
See how much stress it's causing? That's my
I
point.
know. I mean, if it were to look nice, then this would just be like Because when you listen to it and you just listen to water, that waterfall sound, it's like one of the best sounds ever. It's very calming.
Yeah.
It used to make, like when we first moved here, I used to think it was raining like all the time because of this. I was like, wait a second, is it raining outside? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then I would be like, oh, it's that. That's cool too.
Yeah, I have to adjust to it. It's a constant splashing of water on rocks.
But it sounds good. Even staring at it. Like you would just stare at it and listen and it'll take you somewhere else. When I was a kid, I was at Kathy and Kathy's house and we took a walk in the back fields because, well, now there are houses all over there, but back in the old days before there were houses, this was just like some empty field. I thought we were walking through like the wilderness, the forest. Okay, I thought the forest was right there. Sometimes we were just walking and it was when like everyone was at the house and just like all of us kids went on a walk with some of the adults. So like Rachel and Jonathan were there as well. So anyways, we were like walking through and then we saw like a stream of water and there was something that was kind of like a waterfall and I was so mesmerized by that. I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I couldn't stop talking about that. And so I remember I went and told my parents about it and I was like, we have to go back there. We have to like experience this again. And then one time my mom walked in that back field with us. We couldn't find any such waterfall, but we did find a sewage fall. And then like my parents were just like, what? That was it. That was your beautiful waterfall. Let's go home.
Your parents were disappointed.
Yeah, well, I was also disappointed. I was like, what happened to the magic that I saw that one day? It was like a poop thing. It was so nasty.
How do you feel when you're grateful?
That's a good question. Can you describe that feeling?
Well, that's how I feel right now. I don't have words for it.
Oh, okay.
You don't seem like you have words for it.
No, I'm trying to feel like, how do you describe that feeling? Grateful. I think there's just like so much like comfort and like you're feeling love and comfort and all that at the same time. Like everything is always working out. I think today is another example of everything is always working out for us. Do you have some examples of today, of things working out for us today? They can be small.
They can be small.
They can be very small, but they still matter.
You want me to tell you one
tell
that
me
happened
one
today?
That happened today. Yes.
I know that some people don't understand this. A lot of people do, mostly immigrants, who have family members across the world, and that they have to support and send money and remittance to their families.
Right.
You do not know how the beautiful, the great feeling that you have when you see the Western Union fee and it's only $8 to send $2,000. That's an amazing feeling. It's like, wow.
That is actually
small wins.
Yeah, and then we look at it, and then supposedly he's going to get every cent of it, I hope.
Yeah, those are the small wins that we talk about.
That is a good one.
Because normally it's double digits.
Yeah, they take a lot of money, those third parties.
So when you get
a
single digit fee from Western Union, it's a good day.
Yeah.
Try to top that.
That's a really good one. I mean, the one that I want to mention or say, well, I have several, just a lot of small things. Like, first of all, we made that sale today, and I felt like that was just very random. I know it's not much, but the guy did give us more than what the product is actually, like the price of the actual product. And I felt like that sale came out of nowhere. I mean, I didn't go to a farmer's market to try to sell anything, and we didn't do any kind of ad campaigns or anything like that. It's just a random organic person from the internet that found us and called. It's crazy. So I just feel like that's a good sign that, and I hope that you believe this too, That way they start getting more sales, like organic traffic to our store. Well, then get excited about it.
I'm excited to go back inside and relax.
Okay.